Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ask Conti. I am joined with Gabby Brooks. And Gabby, do you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do?
Yes, like she said, my name is Gabby Brooks. I am a mental health therapist. I am the owner of Empowered to Prosper LLC in Melbourne, Florida.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We had a discussion a couple of weeks ago, and it was very powerful. And so we wanted to bring you back on to talk about how to deal with a narcissistic spouse, and maybe some tips you can give people who are in a relationship with someone who they think is a narcissist. So I'll let you kind of define, because I get this call all the time. I'm dealing with a textbook narcissist, right? And everybody thinks they know what a textbook narcissist is, but they may not actually know. So if you could kind of enlighten us and talk about, when or signs that you see when someone is dealing with narcissism.
Absolutely. So, first off, I want to say that everybody is not a narcissist. I know that we get that a lot. I hear a lot of people on TikTok, if you're dealing with a narcissist, some people are just not raised well and not raised to know what healthy relationships are. So, I'm going to pull directly from the Mayo Clinic definition of a narcissist. It's one of several types of personality disorders. It's a mental condition in which people have inflated sense of themselves. The truth of the matter is a narcissist has low self-esteem, kind of afraid for people to know that they're not perfect. They're afraid for people to know that they don't have it all together, that they've experienced trauma. And so the behavior that you see is those things coming out, basically.
Okay. All right. And so do you have any tips for someone who's dealing with a narcissist and they're in a relationship with them? Like, what
Yeah.
advice would you give someone who came to you and was like, oh, this is what I'm experiencing? How do they deal with a person like that?
So often times, it's the important part is recognizing if, hey, it seems like I might be in a relationship with a narcissist. A lot of times you don't know because narcissists come off really charming as well. For any relationship and any of my clients, I tell them the best way to empower themselves is to take things slow. If you haven't seen someone that you're newly dating in every step, every possible mood, anger, happy, when they're disappointed, then your chances are you're moving too fast. And that's the best way to miss if you are in a relationship with a narcissist. The first thing is narcissists love to love bomb. So that means giving you gifts. And if you're a person that, kind of thrive off of gifts and attention and things like that, you'll miss it. So you have to make sure that you are taking things slow. Why are they giving you gifts so much? Like, what is that about? Is there something, that they're trying to hide? What is that about? Like, you don't need gifts every time, you see someone, or every time, you all meet up and things like that. So look a
It's
little
like a
bit.
fairy tale at first, right? It's like a fairy tale,
Because
right?
a lot of times they don't have a lot of substance. So that's what they have to do to kind of compensate for not having, emotional substance. They'll give you gifts and make you happy. So you miss a whole bunch of things after that. I know if somebody shows up, well, I don't like gifts, but for those people that do, shows up with gifts, you'll miss everything that comes after that. You'll miss their tones. You'll miss their gaslighting. You'll miss when they're being sarcastic and degrading. So take things slow. Look out for the charming gift loading in the beginning. What is their personality like? Their real personality. Are they the same consistently? Do you talk to them one week, they're on top of the world, the next week they're down in the dumps? Look into those things. That's one way to miss things as well. People shouldn't have that many mood fluctuations. I mean, if you're normal and you're healthy, and that's what we want to be in relationships with, your mood shouldn't be fluctuating every week. Like, you should be pretty consistent.
Somewhat stable, right? Yeah.
Somewhat stable, yeah. And I'm not saying we don't have bad days, but on the other side of that is my true personality. I'm able to say, oh, I'm just having a rough day. And then I can go on and talk to you about whatever we need to talk to you about. But it shouldn't be about your whole bad day the entire day and conversation and week.
Right.
Everything is about them. So once the love bombing is finished, things become about them. They want you with them. They want you isolated. We're not spending enough time, those types of things. And that's just a ploy to isolate you from people that will that are in your life to protect you, to say, hey, that doesn't seem right. But if they isolate you, you don't have that support system anymore. They've kind of moved you out of the eye of people that care about you. They lack boundaries. This is a major. They lack their own boundaries, and they lack the capability of respecting your boundaries. So if you tell them, hey, I can't have company at my job, and they're constantly showing up, that's an issue. Hey, don't call me after 11. They call it after 11, after 12, after 1, because they think someone's at your home, or whatever the excuse may be, and they can't respect boundaries. You probably need to run. And that's from anybody, not just narcissist.
Narcissist, anybody.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Right, red flag all over. I should have got myself some red flags.
Red flag.
Right. And I said already, you're isolated. And the major thing is your feelings are disregarded. So there's something that they said, whether they meant to hurt you or not, you bring it up in conversation and you're gaslighted to say, well, I would never, hurt you like that. Or, I would never say anything like that to hurt you. Well, the fact of the matter is you did hurt me. So
yeah, you hurt me.
Yeah, you hurt me. So the apology should sound like, I'm sorry that I did that. Not, well, I'm sorry you feel hurt, or I'm sorry you feel like So the important things, and like I tell my clients, learn what a real apology sounds like.
Talk about that. Talk about that for a minute. What is a real? Yeah. How should a real apology sound?
A real apology is blank, and there's a period at the end. There's no buts. There's no I made you feel. No, you can't make a person feel a certain way. Just apologize for hurting them. I apologize that I hurt you. Now, if you want to go on and say what you meant to say, or I could have said this a better way. A real apology sounds like total accountability. You're not going to bring up things that they did. Well, I'm sorry I hurt you, but remember last week when you said the exact same thing? That's not the time. You should have told me that when you needed an apology. So a real apology has a period at the end. There's no commas and no question mark. It's just, I'm sorry, So, yeah. Those are some ways to recognize. There are so many resources online, from Mayo Clinic, Psychology Today. You want to look at things that are reputable.
Right. Not listen to your girlfriend,
TikTok.
Or your mama, TikTok. Right. Yeah. You want to actually go to something that's reliable. Right?
Yeah. So, yeah. If you go to psychologytoday.com, type in signs that I may be in a relationship with a narcissist, look those things up. If more than 2 or 3 align with what you're dealing with, then you need to, get yourself a therapist and, make a decision for yourself.
So let's talk about divorce. When you're trying to divorce a narcissist, what tips do you have with someone who's getting ready to go through the divorce process, or they're already going through the divorce process and their spouse is a narcissist? How do you deal with them? And I'll throw in some tips about what can help you with your case, but if you could talk about it from your side of things.
So the first and foremost, number one, is to take care of yourself. And when I say take care of yourself, that means you've done an amazing job, first off, surviving a relationship with a narcissist. And now you're going to move to that step to divorcing a narcissist. So you are taking care of yourself. You're making sure that you're making good choices for yourself. So that's amazing. But on the other side of that, get yourself a therapist, because there are so many things that's going to happen during this divorce proceeding. Under no circumstances they're going to be amicable. A narcissist is not capable of doing anything amicably. So get yourself a therapist so that you can, one, process those thoughts when they are gaslighting you or they continue to degrade you and make you feel shameful for leaving them and breaking up your home, all the things that you're going to hear. So you want to make sure you get yourself a therapist. And 2, you need that therapist to understand why that personality disorder was able to connect itself to you. What is it about you that allows them to connect so easily to you, that makes it easy for you to stay with them? Something happened in your own life that makes you feel like, either that's what you're worth or you're not able to recognize it. So take care of yourself, get yourself a therapist so that you can process process those feelings and those thoughts when it comes up, because it's going to come up.
And just to kind of jump in there, we encourage all of our clients, whether you have a spouse that has a mental health issue or personality disorder, we encourage all of our clients to seek the help of a therapist to help get you through the divorce, because it will help save you money. It will save you a ton of money, because your lawyers, we're not therapists, right? And our hourly rate is much higher than that of an actual therapist. So it's cheaper for our clients to go and seek the help of a therapist to help them deal with the emotional part of the divorce, especially if you're dealing with a narcissist, to help you kind of, work through how to set boundaries and, to kind of help coach you through this. And so if you are dealing with a narcissist, you definitely want a therapist to help you with figuring out how to co-parent with them and to give you techniques and tips to help you deal with them. Because if you have a child with them, you have to deal with them outside of the court case. So you really want to have someone help you, basically figure out how to deal with them and not just rely on your attorney only to help you, because it will cost you more money. So definitely want a therapist.
Yes. And that's my number 2, to get yourself a strong, reasonable divorce lawyer. You do not need someone, and no disrespect, because a lawyer is a lawyer, and they all, know what they're doing for the most part, I hope. But you do not need someone, fresh out of law school, and you don't need someone timid or someone that, has a very similar personality type to your own. That does not, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to those people that, are in these relationships, but you need someone that has a fresh set of eyes. You need a bulldog in the courtroom, because you don't need someone that's going to be able to be charmed or be enticed to, feel sorry for your partner and, get someone that's strong and that can say absolutely not, that they're amazing with boundaries.
Yes, you have to
help with that.
Right. You have to be able to set boundaries and for your attorney to be able to recognize, like, hey, we're not going there. Let's go talk. Let's break this up. Let's go talk. So they need to be able to recognize when that spouse is doing things, trying to manipulate you. Like, hey, no, we're not doing it. We're going to caucus. We're going to go in a separate room. We'll talk with, and kind of help you get through that with dealing with that. Definitely
someone that's not afraid to interrupt. Those are the attorneys that I like. The ones that are not afraid to interrupt and say, this is not best for my client. We're going to step out. Those are the types that you want around protecting you, because that narcissistic personality is going to come in and try to paint the horrible picture of you to your lawyer. And now that's your lawyer, but they're going to try to paint the picture that you're unstable and you're all of these things. And so get yourself a strong divorce lawyer. Absolutely. The other thing is to make sure that you have a support team around you. So you have your lawyer, you have your therapist, you need family, because things are going to start, if they already aren't, kind of falling apart in the co-parenting area, because most of the time they're just not capable. They're not capable of co-parenting amicably. So have that person in place, that mutual person that can do drop-offs with the children, so that you can set the boundary to not deal with them at all without your attorney present. So have that support in place.
And it's important too, because I don't want to cut you off, but it's important to have another witness, right?
Yes.
So if you have to do the drop off, which you may, you want to have someone that can testify to what happened, what was said, who was there, right? So you don't want to deal with that other spouse by yourself. It's good to have an extra device to help you, tell what happened, and then also you want to communicate with them in writing. Too.
Right. Absolutely. The other thing is and Conti, you can help me out with this one. I definitely agree, but I know that you're going to have to align really well with your attorney and decide how much you're willing to pay per piece. So there are going to be some points where you need to go to court. Possibly your attorney can assist you and say, we don't really need to go to court on this. Maybe we can do mediation. Maybe we can, let them have this or whatever, but pick your battles and then decide how much of those court proceedings you don't have to go to, because a narcissist loves the show. So if you can eliminate the show, then you can save your own peace of mind. So get with my attorney, stay out of court as much as you can. And Conti, you can help with, help me explain that part.
It depends if they're being reasonable or unreasonable. Right. So, our goal is to try to help you settle the case, because it's expensive to go to trial. But if they're being completely unreasonable, sometimes you're forced to have to go to trial. And so hearings, typically like an hour. They can be longer sometimes if the judge allows you, but it's an hour. It's a short period of time to put on your case, right? So you have 20 minutes to put on your case. The other side has 20 minutes. And then you have, 20 minutes for, closing arguments or something like that. So it's not a lot of time for your attorney to be able to show that your spouse is a narcissist or whatever else. But when you have trial could be a full 8 hours, a full day. It could be 2 days. You are able to put on evidence to show exactly what's going on with the trial more than you're able to do that with just an hour hearing. So you want to kind of pick your battles. And that's whether you're dealing with a narcissist or not, because hearing, trial, and court time is expensive. But when you have to go, you have to go. And sometimes you have to say, look, we're not going to keep going back and forth with you about this. We are, grounded in the law. We understand what, the law requires. We feel like you're wrong. We can have a hearing on it. We can go to trial. So just get with an attorney that's going to be straightforward with you. Get with an attorney that is going to fight for you. But also keep in mind that you don't have, or most clients don't have, an endless supply of money to waste on proceedings. So go when you have to, right? And if you don't have to figure out, is it worth my peace to be move on or whatever else. So if we're arguing about the child's shoes, get some more shoes.
Yeah.
Right. But if we're arguing about like time sharing, things that really matter, then you may have to go to trial on those issues. So pick your battle. I agree with that.
Pick your battles, and pick your battles wisely. Like you said, shoes, whatever. I need to take them to their basketball game, and you don't need to figure out what price you were willing to pay for peace. You may have to miss the game, unfortunately, but you have peace at the end. Your child doesn't get to see you falling apart or get to see yet another argument. Pick your battles. The other thing you talked about, you said it a lot, and I'm going to address that: boundaries. So with a narcissistic personality disorder, boundaries are like the number one thing that you can put in place, because what happens is if you don't stick to your boundary, that then tells a narcissistic brain, now everything that I give you or everything that I do to you, you deserve, because you didn't stick by your boundary. So if you're going to make a boundary to not talk to them without your lawyer present, do not talk to them without your lawyer present. If you're going to make a boundary that I'm dropping the child off, or I'm having my mom drop the child off at 6 o'clock at this time per our time sharing, then that's what it needs to be. If they can't make it, or that is not your problem, you do what you set out to do. Set your boundary and stick by it, because any kind of weakness is what narcissists thrive off of. It's like that I gotcha, attitude.
And I would limit telephone communications to the extent that you can, because I've seen it to where you can talk about this. Once you go back and forth, it's like, gotcha, you're engaged, right?
Yeah, we have to remember that they thrive off of control. So we all know that someone that we can't control emotionally, they don't care 10 cents about us. But if I can control you emotionally, there's some piece of you that's still connected to me. And that's a narcissistic personality, that says that if they can get you to argue with them, go back and forth, cry, get enraged, act a fool at the kids' school, all of those things, then they have you and you're not removed from that situation. So definitely
do not engage like that.
Do not engage. And that means by phone, whatever you need to do. And that's why those people that, those supportive people are important. Put those people in place that can deal with that person. And it may have to be, your brother or your mom that can say, hey, we said 6 o'clock. Are you going to be there? If you know that all this long time you haven't been able to do that in 8 years, 9 years, however long you've been married to this person, divorce is not going to change that. You still probably are going to have a hard time doing that. So get somebody in place that can help you with those things.
Right. No, absolutely. And the therapy is crucial.
Yes. It's crucial for yourself. It's crucial for your children, because the divorce proceedings is going to probably be 10 times worse than the actual marriage, because now you're leaving, and a narcissist's biggest fear is people leaving them, people figuring out who they are and leaving. And so just imagine, what that's going to do to that personality type. And so get yourself a lawyer. Yes. Get yourself a therapist. Get your children a therapist, because now you're dealing with another layer of this relationship. You're going to have some times where you're not at your best, and you want your children to be able to process those things also. And not necessarily with you, because you're trying to stay strong in other areas. So get your children a therapist so that they can deal with these things. Mm-hmm.
Well, Cabby, these were amazing tips, and it was very helpful. Can you tell everyone how they can reach you if they have any questions? If you need a therapist in Florida, Cabby is great. Can we put information on the screen so people can know how to reach her?
I can be reached at 321-328-0422. My Instagram is Grenita_Brooks. And also my website is empoweredprosper.com. You can go on there, book a free consultation. Probably 90% of my clientele, if they're not couples, then they're women that are empowering themselves against a narcissistic personality disorder. So while I don't treat narcissists, I do treat those women that are trying to recover from those relationships.
Okay, awesome.
And I don't want to be sexist, and men that are recovering from those relationships also.
Okay. Awesome. And if you need help with divorcing a narcissist in the Central Florida area, please give us a call at Conti Moore Law. You can reach us at 407-831-0203. Again, Cabby, it was a pleasure having you on.
Always.
Thank you for giving tips to those who are dealing with someone that's a narcissist. Hopefully this video will help a lot of people. If any questions, reach out to either Cabby or myself. We'll be willing to assist you. Have a great day.
Thank you.